This is the sound of a lack of philanthropy energy out there in the lands, out there in the world as a whole. There is lacking philanthropy energy. Oh, yeah. We'll try to get back into singing a little bit tonight, but I doubt it'll even happen because I've been forgetting to even do it. But nonetheless, it doesn't really matter because this is all really about just kind of mentioning a couple of messages, I suppose you could say. I even downloaded a whole bunch of items from Facebook from the past that were just meant to transition a couple of words that were being spoken on the screen, as opposed to actually trying to like sing right now and such things, because it's not really that relevant or valuable for sure. But nonetheless, hopefully someday with recorded sounds, it could be sounding a little bit better. This is recorded obviously too, but I mean like with quality stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes when you get good effects in there, then it sounds like cool, and yeah, like that's actually the last thing I was gonna say. But we want to start trying to make some weird AI content for sure, like just off the wall, quirky stuff like I've been seeing on LinkedIn, some interesting things. But we want to try to mimic that, but like make it weirder, weird. We want to get super weird with the DINKY tech type content, type of sound making content, and just off the wall type content, because it's just there. It's very accessible in there, and that's like how I've always done things, even before AI content was sort of a thing necessarily. But just having it there would hopefully be able to try to make content at scale a possibility in terms of consistent content that is like content that revolves around making the right type of music and consistently trying to shift different sounds into EDM sounds and then trying to post them on the DINKY tech vibe type of situation. And then also weird visuals. That's the whole name of the game, is having narrative expressions and performance type of, you know, content that is trying to be iterative of just very strange items to be able to then eventually transition into games. Games for change, and change for games. DINKY tech and change for game studios. All right, welcome to the news. Yeah, right on. So this is the giving episode. Just wanted to mention that. This is the giving episode, which also means that we're trying to focus on because it's also the July 4th kind of technically episode, even though we're still actually one episode back, and this is still technically supposed to be for July 3rd. Technically it is July 4th. So here it goes. It's on the July 4th, but it's technically for July 3rd. But nonetheless, what I'm saying is it's the giving episode because we're trying to identify different things around the world, different items around the world, which has to do with acknowledging a lot of gaps in the way that monetary energy and the whole system of philanthropy energy and the way that life revolves around giving energy. Giving energy is lacking. That's why the sirens called off in the beginning of the podcast, because giving energy is what philanthropy energy revolves around in essence, and there's just not enough of that going around. It just has to do with like where you're at and where you're born and where you're from necessarily, and how that relates to what the items are within your region or space or territory, and how the economy is working and flowing in comparison to the government, in comparison to the global economy, in comparison to items of this nature, because it's relevant in terms of attempting to be able to try to develop a little bit of equality at some time in life and such things. But like right about now, it's kind of still sectioned off by government and countries and such things, which is a little bit peculiar and strange because it doesn't seem to be super perfectly aligned with humanity as a whole, like one humanity, which has to do with the main purpose of what I'm getting at, which is in essence that like why certain people seem to have an equitable inflation about themselves in terms of value and self-value. Like there's like a complete aspect of value in one hand versus another's hand, which is very strange and peculiar, and it doesn't seem to make all that much sense. Meaning that if people get resources, they get assets, they think that for some reason that they are a little bit better than other people in the world. Or it's actually vice versa. It could be just a whole lot of vice versa, because it's not like they think that they're more valuable. It's just that they take life for granted. In essence, like people with a lot of money take life for granted, as opposed to thinking and realizing and understanding that they are just as lucky as everyone else to be able to be living. And for that reason, just everyone else being able to live and have the ability to try to be giving given more items to be able to live better and like exist on the during the time that's possible to exist, is a significant way for teamwork to be able to happen among all people, similar to ants in a colony. In essence, like all the ants at least get to eat and they all get a place to sleep within the colony because they just figure it out. They just use the earth. They use the earth and they're able to figure it out because everyone's part of the colony. And even sometimes when they die, they get picked up and stuff like that, because that's something I've noticed, I guess. But nonetheless, it's kind of a thing that they all at least are part of a whole process and such things. But nonetheless, there's like this whole thing where everybody gets to eat every single day, and it's at least that much where everybody can eat every single day. But there's also an ability for all of the ants to be able to provide for themselves, because they are just able to know how to either possibly develop food to a certain degree or another. And that's all I'm trying to say, is that humanity and humans can all develop enough food to be able to feed all humans every single day because of the use of nature and natural resources and such things. If there was an ability to be able to try to hedge and leverage the ability for all people to be able to, in a focused manner, be able to section into spaces and places in the world where all people are able to possibly be able to be. And then everybody can go in different places necessarily that suit them in terms of climate, and they all can grow food as well. Everybody has the ability to grow food. Everybody has power within their veins and their blood flow, and there's energy there to where they can grow food. Every single person should be growing food in the whole world. And on the flip side, it's also that people that are rich, if they do not give to people that are poor around the world, just straight up because everybody gets to be alive, and there's some ability to be able to just acknowledge being alive as this significant, useful tool and item, is something that's unique and interesting in terms of just today, in this day and age, especially with economic power and diverse shifting of value between one country to another, that it should literally be illegal if there's not an example of acknowledging the ability to be able to share. And it's not just really exactly about taxes, it's about governments, it's about every person in the world, 100% of people. It's about 8 billion people in the world all getting a meal every single day. At least that, just because of the fact that it's a matter of not governments. It's not a government game. This isn't a government game. This is a life game. This is a planets and a life and, space and earth game situation. But it's like there's this whole pretend game with governments to begin with. It's really just all about pissing contests at the end of the day. Even economies and economic energy and all that jazz. And that's why philanthropy energy is always the focus of every single podcast that I'm ever talking about. It's philanthropy energy, because philanthropy energy is the energy that is the type of cleansing energy that is hopefully able to just cleanse the whole world in a simplified sense. If everybody's chasing philanthropy energy instead of monetary energy, then it changes the nature of the game, and the game changes, and that's the whole purpose, is to change the nature of the game with games, and to change with games and change for games 100%. Change for games, because the game of playing for philanthropy energy changes the nature of the whole world. It changes the liquid, it changes the fluid, it changes the process and the pursuit for everybody to be aligned in the same fashion, to be able to just try to give to all humans, to humans, because it just seems as though it should be illegal. It should be properly illegal for people to not be able to not get the things that they need to be able to live a life, and be able to at least even just still be given resources to be able to grow their own food, and everybody to be able to have their own food and such things. In essence, that's the bottom line. That's the most bottom line possible. And there's a lot of land in Africa, so hopefully that is a possibility, because there's a lot of growth in Africa. That's the future. It's been mentioned in past podcasts, or maybe it has or hasn't been, but I'm sure I mentioned it in a past podcast, because there was a specific podcast where Brian Johnson was speaking, and in that same podcast, although it has been something that have mentioned in the past, I don't know when exactly or which was the time or place or space, but I've mentioned Africa in the past. Anyway, as a new world potential, that's what I was talking about. It's just the world meeting there and having the ability to be able to meet there and be able to try to use it as a new world kind of space, so everybody can meet there in a sense, to be able to use it like a new kind of space, to be able to live and exist together as one new world if they wanted to, because that's just a new place. And that's what I was going to say is the Brian Johnson episode. There's Brian Johnson, his episode, and he was interviewed in an episode of Hard Knock Life. Hard Knocks, or School of Hard Knocks, which is a YouTube channel, which is just interviewing people that have a lot of money, basically. And then so the episode where Brian Johnson is interviewed, and he has a shirt on that says "Don't Die," and he talks about being able to live to 1,000 years, which is awesome, I guess you could say, and that's hopefully the forefront of humanity, I guess, is being able to continue to live a long time by preserving cells and being able to try to optimize cells, basically, as time moves on with like different technology that's very strange and manufactured cells or whatever. And beyond that, trying to take that to another level, and also acknowledging that like there's Africa, in essence, which has the ability to house a lot of different people, in essence, if we want to go that route. And that's what I'm trying to say, is that the investor that speaks before Brian Johnson in that same episode on School of Hard Knocks is a different guy whose name is not mentioned, apparently, and he talks about making many billion-dollar companies, and that Africa is the forefront of where he would invest if he was focusing on his energy anywhere. And he was a VC, he's a venture capitalist. So nonetheless, that's what I was getting at, is basically that. He's a venture capitalist. He's talking about Africa at the speed of growth is significant at the current time anyway. So we may as well all converge there and all make a new world in Africa, basically, because they might as well say the same thing. Is what I would hope that they would say is that they would all benefit from it. I would hope to think so, and hopefully everybody could possibly benefit from it, because we could try to extend the idea of extending resources all across the world. So there's literally the pipes go from the rich places to all the places in the whole world. It's really not that serious. It's not that, it's absolutely that serious. It's not that difficult, though, is what I'm getting at. It's not that difficult. And all these rich nations should be punished, every single one. And it's like a joke, basically, because who's going to punish them? It's a joke. But I'm saying it should be illegal in the world sense, in the world book sense, in the UN. In the UN, if they have a book, in essence, that should be illegal. That just, if you have enough money to be able to get everybody in the world to eat, for that to not be happening necessarily. And it's not about just trying to pay money to get everybody to have a meal every single day. It's more so about teaching a person to fish as opposed to giving them a fish. That's the difference. I don't understand why it's so complicated, honestly. Like, why is it that not everybody in the world cannot have water every day? Why cannot everybody in the world have food every single day? Because it's grown from the sun, which is a thing that's up in the air every single day, and that should be able to be manipulated into differing processes and pipelines and avenues to be able to garner and harness and grab that energy from the sky, as opposed to just in rich nations where everybody's focused on them goddamn selves and has too much bullshit in their house. They have too much stuff. They're all their own prisoners anyway from their house and the things that they need to continue to buy, because all they're doing is being marketed to, and these are the rich fucking nations. Whereas, well, in these rich nations, all they have to do is scrape off a little bit of the extra, including wasted food. Like, what is it? I think I literally saw at the Games for Change Festival that, what is it? I think it's 80% of food is wasted or something along those lines. I took a picture. Nonetheless, it's something madness like that. And it's just ridiculous. It's so strange. It's silly. It's just like it should be illegal. This is very strange to even be saying it out loud in a weird sense. And it's just like that I even have to do a podcast about it, whereas there's not more common sense in the world to just distribute energy. This is philanthropy energy. This is the new philanthropy energy for everyone. This is the innovative new technology called philanthropy energy. It's killing the old money world energy, monetary energy, and it's shifting into philanthropy energy. So we use more common sense, which isn't even to say that common sense is common, because it's not to say that it's easier said than it is to say that it's easier said than done. That's for darn sure, because there's a lot of old world stuff, old tricks still in the book, still being used, many outdated items and processes and schools of thought and mindsets, yada, yada, yada. But AI is rapidly changing everything. Including what I was saying Brian Johnson was saying in terms of conceptually living to 1,000 years or whatever more. I don't know, but it just depends on how far down the line we get and whatever else is unfolding, which things are unfolding massively and rapidly. But it still is the giving episode so we're talking about focusing on giving, and distributing, dispersing, parsing, sacrificing, chewing out the fat, getting the fat out from the freaking from the woodwork of different places to be able to sacrifice and give to other places in the world. Find pipelines, find ways, find pipelines to be able to connect with other people in the world. All of the internet right now is super centralized. If you're in America, it's centralized for America. That's about it. You go on any searches, it's America. It's all about America. There's no other world that exists out in the world on the internet. Technically, you're not getting Borneo statistics. You're not getting freaking Latvia statistics. It's absolutely insular. Everything is insular. There's no democratization of openness as much as we would like to think that it technically is. There's a lot of garnering, there's gatekeeping on social media, there's blasting, there's promoting of different people. It's all behind closed doors type stuff, but it's not really that important after all. It's just most important that we're able to connect and be able to talk to people around the whole world and try to connect with conceptualizing and breaking down the bridges of every single person in the freaking world to be able to talk to each other. Just like social media helped to be able to improve a lot of aspects in the world by more people being able to talk to each other on a more consistent basis, because less problems happen from communication in a simply put sense. So we just need to continue to break down these barriers and continue to open the pipelines of communication to be able to give more, give a whole lot more. And that's what philanthropy energy is all about. That's what it's a symbol of. It's a symbol of that. That's what DINKY, TehC, and Change for Game Studios is. It's a big symbol for generation of continuous, ongoing recycling, philanthropy energy. And this is the giving episode. 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. Even though this episode is technically the 3rd of July episode. Whatever. So moving on, we're talking about. I was also going to mention that Ferrari has a flagship Soho store now, which I think is the first car store technically in Soho in NYC, which is kind of cool and interesting, and that's what DINKY TehC is all about. Also, because we made the Catharsis, which is a car in 2014. In essence, basically, yada 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 yada, yeah. Let's see the car. Okay, cannar.weebly.com. Yes, anyways, we also are trying to transition into other aspects of development as if possible, like using different aspects of technology, still trying to get into develop, every day researching kind of some different items and resources and such things, like adding wings to skateboards, for example. That was something from today. We have like something called the spread board that I've been mentioning in the past a bunch, which is and then also like a spread stick, which is something I've mentioned in the past also. It's like an alpine slide. You're riding it like an alpine slide. It's like a recumbent bicycle. You ride it like an alpine slide, and that's what it's like. That's what it is. It's an electrified bike. But we're adding wings. Today we're adding wings to skateboards because we want to fly on a skateboard. We actually do. We also use a pumping motion to be able to try to use a pumping motion similar to hydrofoils to be able to try to get these things to pump and such things to be fun and interesting experiences in this fashion. And we're trying to get more of an engineering resource and more engineering collaborations to be able to try to develop or at least collaborate on products such as this to be able to make this possible. And so also Amazon is making such things as Amazon bought Rivian, the car company Rivian, I believe, or so they make these interesting also bicycle. They make these interesting bicycle vehicles to be able to try to transition and get themselves around the city to be able to make deliveries. And they're very interesting looking vehicles. They're very cool and interesting vehicles. And what the same thing is, the same interesting concept is to be able to use that technology in a similar fashion to be able to look into and lean into new interesting battery powering charging technology to be able to leverage powering different aspects and weight distribution for levitating type of vehicles, elevating vehicles where you can use the essence of just pumping your wheels and spinning your legs like a bicycle. You can spin like a bicycle, but it actually is powering a big battery, but they're lightweight batteries. These Amazon vehicles are able to pull a lot of weight, and these big significant vehicles, I forget what the name of the vehicles, but anyways, they're cool, and they use bicycle turning mechanisms, and similar to a pumping mechanism motion like hydrofoils are. We want to use that with skateboards and also spread sticks to be able to actually try to get them off the ground and make them flying aspects. So anyway, that's also relevant. That's what DINKY TehC is. That's the DINKY TehC version of Ferrari. That's like the Catharsis in 2014 is a significant looking cool little race car made with a motorcycle engine, so it's actually giving a motorcycle experience. And that's what we're doing, is crossing over from different genres, different regions, different types of brands, or different types of products, and combining the elements to be able to try to continue to develop new ones, because that's sort of the purpose, is to try to develop fun experiences, but also be able to rapidly make prototypes, and that's what we're working towards doing. Yeah, and I hope this podcast can continue long term. I hope we can make progress and make these things and get on the board and make the scores on the scoreboard, and consistently be able to make interviews with people, and then have people be held accountable by interviews that we do, and then we're able to make products with those interviews, and then also have trading bots connected to those interviews and such things like this. Yeah. And continuously also start to post things like maybe on like Amazon, for example, like in terms of having these products, like in terms of connecting on with people on interviews, to be able to make like little stores, like not like Shopify stores, but like, like one-click landing pages and such things that connect with like Amazon links in essence, so that that's possible to also be able to make sales like in a hurry. We'll also make like a storefront, like a one-page landing page, and then like connect it to like an Amazon link, for example. That's what I was thinking, as a coincidence to that Amazon vehicle being another present aspect to the podcast that was present in a different part of the day, to be able to connect one landing page products and be affiliates to those high, hopefully ticket or commission products, basically for businesses, to be able to target businesses, because they obviously, well, whatever. Anyways, and then so that's those are Amazon products, and we can. And in terms of DJing stuff, we did a DJ sesh today, like one of the first DJ sessions on the street in the city, because it was necessary yesterday, thinking about trying it, and today we actually went and tried it, because it's necessary to try it. It was something I wanted to do, and that I didn't have the speaker before in the city, and so today when we were in the city and we found a good space, we did a DJ set, and we want to try to do those at the little call boxes, maybe around the city, and maybe try to document it, and maybe use it as a means to be able to transition into interviews with people, and then maybe try to figure out then the places and the things and the times and the things to triangulate to be able to sell as an affiliate, maybe on Amazon, or other aspects and avenues, to be able to just try to promote and develop a pipeline of energy and motion and attention towards being able to sell different products on either Amazon as one-page landing pages, or like maybe little Shopify stores and such things, whichever could be rapid to be able to develop and prototype them, or whatever, like to make them quickly is what I meant to say. And then also we're looking into some AI tools to try to develop that quickly if possible, and then obviously to be able to promote it quickly as possible as well is ideal, and such things. Yeah. And then also the trading bots to go with each little logo that we develop with people during interviews and such things. Yeah, so being able to try to transition, have all these things come to a center place, to be able to try to continue to transition this process into more so functional action. That is the hope. Anyway, let's see if there's anything else. So never worked with a team before. Still interviewing. I guess you could call it interviewing, but still actually just trying to connect with the right vibes. It's very difficult. It's this whimsy thing in life. But yeah, revenue is something that's obviously fallen by the wayside. Otherwise, I'd be chasing more people and to work with more and more often, which is kind of, it's like it has its good and its bad, because it causes too much relaxation on my part by not. It's not relaxation. It's like you're either learning or you're earning. So it's like just learning is like the preference, because that's like growing. Learning is growing in essence, even though it's not in the revenue sense, but we're still trying to leverage all elements of growth, which next is hopefully to try to focus and give some more attention to the revenues aspect. The revenue aspect to also be able to try to develop and focus on having pipelines to be able to focus towards the main hopefully functionalities of the business, which I mentioned in the last podcast, but I won't bore you with what the main elements of the business are meant to be moving towards, and the main pipes are trying to triangulate towards. As time goes on, I'll maybe leave you with that. Let's see. Yeah. So we're just trying to, make some more AI content, make some more AI items that are more entertaining to watch, and weird stuff, weird dinky tech stuff to get like just weird and have weird stories. But hopefully with some continuity, but we still absolutely need an audience first. So we're still chasing audiences by trying to do circle tours, voluntourism circle tours, by hopefully finding significant markets around the world, to try to be able to solve those problems because we're trying to chase philanthropy energy. We want to focus on the biggest impact possible, and that's what we're doing. Number one is by developing the Change for Game Studios and Dinky Tech brand, is trying to focus on the unfulfilled potential markets, which therefore activates everyone in the world, hopefully at the soonest time possible, to be able to activate their transformer suits, to then be able to have that inflection time and place and space where they all have that time where they turn on their transformer suits, and then everybody's working together to then activate the most change for games and the most games for change possible around the world, so that all people are generating the most philanthropy energy possible among all people as possible, to be able to contribute to the global philanthropy energy grid as best as possible on a consistent day-to-day basis. And all of their transformer suits are also conceptually and connected directly into the global philanthropy energy grid. Anyways, thanks again, Dinky Tech. Bye. Peace, bye.